Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime, here at my next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012 episode review. This one's going to be for Season 4, Episode 9, The Cosmic Ocean. And this is our kind of big return after the, for some reason, break they seem to take after every couple of episodes. And, I've said this after we come back from every break, but it's really, really frustrating why they do that. And I don't know if it's like a production problem where like they only make the show 8 or 9 episodes at a time, and so that's why the releases of episodes are so staggered, but it's a real problem I think that the show really needs to fix as it goes forward. I get most seasons of any show when they air them, especially like over here, have to take a break at some point throughout the running of a full season. But like limited to one or two, like too often than not with TMNT, it's like 5 or 6 plus breaks between episodes, and it really means that there's just a real lack of flow between the episodes, and it was to the point where like I almost completely forgot where we were this season. Thankfully, it's not a lot really has happened so far this season, despite being in space and all this sort of stuff going on. But so it was easy to catch up. But yeah, this wasn't a particularly good episode. It it was visually like amazing. It looked amazing. I think that's fair to say. The cosmic ocean, the way it looked, the kind of planet they ended up on, the Dagon base. I think that's the name of the species, Dagon. Um, Base was pretty cool. Just the look of that species was also very very interesting. Uh, but the problems this episode really highlighted are just that the villains that they're setting up for this kind of space arc are dreadful. I don't care about Lord Dreg. I don't care about Armagon. Um, the Triceratons are interesting enough, but it's more like they're a whole group. They're like the Krang kind of again, where like you don't care about like any one individual like villain or anything like that. It's just they are a whole species that are villainous as far as we're aware. Um, so especially the focus on this episode being on like Lord Dreg and Armagon, it was I didn't I just don't get them as characters. Like Armagon is just this fairly neutral character who's like uh, a bit of a joke at times, serious at other times, but in general he's just a kind of bounty hunter who works for Lord Dreg, and that's it. And then Lord Dreg is just this seemingly powerful insect guy who has an issue with the turtles for some reason. They bumped into him in like one of the earlier episodes this season, and is now interested in the black hole generator. Now, what exactly he wants to do with that, I suppose, it is sort of interesting, but they haven't really established like the details of who he is specifically enough to really make me care all that much. So like he needs some major work as the episodes go on to make me care about him. So yeah, that definitely needs to be fixed. Now, the episode did accomplish something in that okay, we now have two parts of the black hole generator. That's reasonably cool. Progress was made in this episode. But as I said, it highlights problems that this show has with characters and character development, in that there basically is none. Like they set up something for Leonardo in this episode. Like at the start, he is talking to this holographic simulation of Splinter, which is made from obviously the memories of the turtles, and so it sort of had some sort of realistic meaning what Splinter was saying to him. And then throughout the episode, they set up the idea of like, is he worthy to be leader? Is he worthy enough to lead them in these kind of situations, like dealing with the leader of the Dagon, whatever her name was, Hydralda, I think. And they set that up like, okay, this is crazy beast that you're going to have to face, and if he deems you worthy, we'll give you the piece. If not, you'll be destroyed. And all it led to was Leonardo jumping in front of Lord Dreg's missile, not being really injured at all. So why would it have injured her? And because she seemed fairly powerful herself, and then they trusted them immediately and said, okay, the big monster wasn't really anything. I had it here all along. So it was just a very weird episode that built up things and then didn't do anything with it. I feel like that's this show's only way of attempting to do character development, where we're just like, okay, Leo's the leader, so let's try for like the 10th time to touch on something about Leonardo being the leader and not actually do anything with it. In that Leo, from the start of this episode to the end of this episode, I don't feel is any different as a character. Him, in terms of his quality of as a leader, as a warrior, no different. Um, Add to that the fact that I think it's become a joke. The fighting in the show is a real problem. The turtles are made to be completely incompetent in fighting at this stage. They seem to just lose almost every fight they're in, and it's really annoying me at this stage. I get it's it's not like a shonen anime where like they're gonna have all these power ups, and they tend to have a focus and a they tend to have just a focus on keeping the power levels of certain characters in check, and like who can beat who can beat who. But here it's just like the writers are just like, okay, the villains come in, beat the turtles, and then something happens, and the turtles manage to get away with it just about. I look, this is the ninth episode of this season, and I have no idea how powerful the turtles are comparatively to like the rest of the, kind of other characters in the galaxy. They seem, whenever Lord Drag arrives, they just seem incapable of beating him. Armagon seems basically invincible to them at this stage, and I don't see where any sort of a power boost is coming from. And so the ultimate fight that I think we're all looking for, which is potentially in Leonardo versus Shredder, I really don't see where the progress is being made in terms of making that an in any way even fight. And that's just focusing on Leonardo, who I think is the best fighter of the turtles. Um, that's got nothing to say with like Donnie, who really hasn't been had the best run of things in fights. Same with Raph and Mikey and April and Casey. They tend to not really have April kind of take hits in fights all that often, and that she just manages to get out in the end. Um, and even that, I feel like they could more often use April's powers as a means to get out of a crazy situation, because she's kind of this unknown factor with her psychic powers, and especially now that she has some control over them, I feel there should be they should use that more often, like her just activate the psychic powers, blow everyone away temporarily, and give them a chance to leave. So some it's not that this episode itself was like bad. I think, as I said, like the plot accomplished a little bit. It was interesting to meet this other race of species, the Dagons, who have a relationship with the Utroms like the Aeons from when they got the first piece. Like that's a pretty cool connection, that there are these like three species kind of uh, guarding each piece of the black hole generator. Um, and the relationship in terms of like the cosmic thing between the Utroms and these other species. And I think at some point down the line, they probably will do something along the lines of like do some weird time travel thing where, like, we don't fully know yet how the Triceratons back at the end of like season 3 found all the pieces of the black hole generator in the first place. So it could be a situation where the turtles were always involved in the Triceratons getting the black hole generator, and it's just them being aware of that this time that allows them to change things at the end. I still feel they may do some sort of time travel thing like that, but I'm not fully sure. So, the positives of this episode are we advanced the plot, we got it, we got the second piece of the black hole generator. Visually, really good looking episode with the way the cosmic ocean looked. Though I don't feel they explained what exactly it was all that well. It almost felt just like, we need to have something really visually interesting here, so let's just giant cosmic ocean thing. Um, but other than that, like it was very disappointing, and just highlights that this show really very rarely does anything of interest with its characters. The turtles are not very interesting characters, and have remained stagnant for like four, like 3 and a bit seasons now. They haven't developed like at all. They're not. I don't think they use the supporting cast all that well. Like April, the Fugitoid. Even I don't think they use him all that well. Casey, and just in general, like this space arc should be fascinating, and they're introducing little bits of like lore about the, as I said, Aeons, Dagons, Utroms, but it's not a focus, and it doesn't feel as important as I think it should be. Like when they got the piece of the black hole generator in this episode, it felt like, wait, that was it. That's how we got the second piece of this major plot thing that's trying to like change time effectively. That was very underwhelming in the end. But yeah, this episode just, I found the fight scene extremely annoying, and I hope they find some sort of consistency with that in terms of the turtles being able to fight effectively against some enemies and not against others, because really that's the way it's always been with this show. It's either the turtles steamroll through a bunch of enemies that can't do anything to them, or they are defeated like that. There is no close battles in the show, really, for the most part. And I feel it probably should get to that at some stage. So yeah, I'm just going to end it there. In the comments, I do really want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this episode. Am I being too negative? Am I not seeing some of the other positives here? But coming back from break, I don't feel this was a particularly strong episode. Like, I'm interested to see how they go with the finding the third piece of the black hole generator, and I hope that like it's more building up towards like a mid-season finale type thing where like all three pieces of the black hole generator are found by the time we hit the mid-season, and we've almost dealt with the whole being in space, the fate of planet Earth by the mid-season, and that the second half of the season is maybe back on Earth, because as I said, the characters in space, apart from our main characters, aren't really interesting to me. As I said, Armagon and Dreg are just kind of nothing characters to me right now. But yeah, in the comments let me know what your thoughts are. But other than that, that's been the review. Thanks for watching, and bye.